Hello YouTube, welcome to another video. Today we're gonna be talking about Riven, Musa and Darcy as well to an extent, and their relationship and how they did it in the reboot versus the original series. Now before we begin, I would like to point out that I do understand that this is kind of comparing apples to oranges. For Riven and Musa, we have the relationship that spans across 8 seasons and a lot happens. And even if you don't want to count season 8 as canon, there are still at least 7 seasons. So we are kind of comparing 13 episodes of the reboot to like several seasons of the actual series, but I wanted to talk about it regardless. Now, in the original, Musa's and Riven's relationship starts out with Musa sort of falling in love with this bad boy archetype, and then the relationship evolves a little. And honestly, I think Musa's and Riven's relationship would have been really cute if by the end of season 2 they had figured out all of the differences and things, and by the end of season 2 when they do seem to kind of get officially together, if they had by that point started to move towards being a healthier couple and had stopped this sort of I don't want to talk about my feelings, and I'm not talking about my feelings either, and had communicated clearly and well, then I think it would have been a really cute couple. I think character development is fun and cute and great. But Riven really never got character development. Riven always ended up being this bad guy who's bad at communicating, and Musa and Riven would just constantly fight. Generally I'm not a fan of the later seasons, but the fact that Musa and Riven broke up, it was probably one of the best decisions the series had ever made. It showed that Musa was capable of moving on from this toxic relationship, and let's not count season 8. Because I don't really even understand what timeline season 8 is supposed to take place on. Is it supposed to follow season 7? Because it doesn't feel like it's supposed to follow season 7. It doesn't even really feel like they have broken up at season 8. So let's not talk about season 8. I think it was a great decision to have them end their relationship. It showed that Musa is capable of doing it, that Musa values herself, and that you can break up. You don't have to stay with your first love. I think that was a great message to have, and I was really happy that they broke up, because at that point the relationship was beyond saving. They had had so many fights and the relationship had grown. They are pretty much adults at that point, so there's really no excuse for the relationship to keep going the way it does. But the reboot gives them a fresh slate, and I was really excited to see how they did it. And so far, I would say that they are doing it better. Yes, I know, unbelievable. The reboot is doing something better. But I seriously think that the reboot is doing it better. And the reboot is sort of in a weird place also, because we have Damien, who's a very similar character to Riven. He is another bad boy archetype, and he feels like a badder bad boy than Riven is. Riven in the reboot, he just seems like he's not the most expressive of a guy, and he doesn't even feel that bad at communicating. He jokes around even and everything, like when they badmouth Teaspro. But Musa and Bloom go and spy on Riven and see that he is playing Musa's song, and the worker at the place where they're spying is like, well, Riven is very private and he wouldn't appreciate it, which is valid. So that is the only sort of moment where we get that Riven is really private, but also Riven is trying to surprise Musa, it seems, and it's a really sweet surprise, and it shows Riven as thoughtful. It's one of the few times where the show isn't just trying to give us facts, but trying to show what is going on, and I actually think that their starting point for Riven and Musa's relationship is so great. If they keep this up, I hope to God that they can keep this up, because it seems really, really interesting. And another interesting storyline we have going on is that Darcy is actually in love with Riven. In the reboot, I was wondering if they're gonna discuss the Darcy, Riven, Musa situation at all, and they haven't really gone into depth about it, but we do know that Darcy does have feelings for Riven, and I think that's super interesting. I think that's super interesting that they have established that, and I actually really like that Darcy admits to having genuine feelings for Riven. It makes things very, very interesting. And I haven't really figured out Darcy's character in the reboot. She seems very smart and calculated in the original, and in the reboot she feels kind of like a bimbo. She feels kind of a little bit clueless, a little bit of an airhead almost, the most like sort of almost innocent of the tricks. If I can say that. She feels like a very different character, but I like that she has these genuine feelings for Riven that she admits. She has like an actual crush on him, and that creates a very interesting basis for the Riven Musa Darcy dynamic. I'm really interested to see where they take it, and I hope that they do actually take it somewhere. And I'm actually also rooting for Riven and Musa. Riven doesn't seem as much of a bad guy in the reboot, and he's really starting off strong. He's starting off on the right foot, showing Musa that he cares about her music, supporting her when Musa feels down, because the entire thing with the music producer was a ploy to get Bloom's powers. And he tells her that, hey, the concert is still real and you're still talented, and he supports Musa. He gives Musa the support at the moment that she needs it most, which to me shows a great basis for his character and their relationship.
Maybe he lied to you, but the concert is real. You were amazing out there.
The reboot is really building it up to be a more healthy dynamic than the original was, and I am so here for it. I am so happy for it. What do you think? How do you feel about the Riven Musa Darcy dynamic and the Riven Musa dynamic in general? I am really excited to see what they do with it. I hope that they keep up the good work and make it feel like a healthy couple and not one where there's the toxicity and drama for the sake of toxicity and drama. So yeah, this video is actually kind of short, but I wanted to discuss this regardless because I want to point out the things that the reboot does correctly as well, and I want to give them props where I can and give them credit where credit is due, and I really hope that they really keep it up, because oftentimes in the reboot they have started out strong and then kind of dropped the ball or forgot about something, even though we only have 13 episodes. So I hope that they are keeping this up and that Musa can have a great relationship with Riven, because I do like the idea of one of the guys being like less expressive and struggling to express himself clearly. Like, that's not a bad thing, and then they can work their relationship dynamic and work on communicating, and that's all great. I would love to see that dynamic just being handled more healthily and better. And let me know what you think. Do you like Musa and Riven in the reboot? I do really like them in the reboot. And if you have enjoyed this video, check out some of my other videos. I have other videos on the reboot, and I have loads of videos on Winx Club in general. And make sure to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any future videos. Leave this video a like, and of course I love reading everyone's thoughts in the comments, so leave me a comment down below. And I'll see you in another video. Bye!